to the Practical Dreamers podcast, where your dreams and your finances collide. I'm Charm,
And I'm Dira.
and we're your guides on this journey to financial success designed just for you.
And only you. All right. So, what are we talking about today?
Well, you told me we were talking about loud budgeting, so I'm
Yes.
curious to know, one, what that is, and particularly because social media always has all these different things of how to describe things. So I'm curious to know that, and then two, you know, thoughts on it, of course.
Yeah, of course. So basically, loud budgeting, we're going to insert a clip
Thanks
here.
to loud budgeting, that is starting to change. And if you're not familiar with this, loud budget is a new trend that focuses on being honest and transparent about your finances, setting boundaries, and not being afraid to say no if something doesn't fit into your budget or if you just don't want to spend money on it.
So as we saw in the video, it's basically in your face, like, I'm on a budget, screaming from the rooftop and all that kind of stuff. But is that necessary? Do we really need to be in everybody's face telling them we're on a budget? You know what I mean? What do you think?
I mean, ideally, I think my take is this. You and I have both been loud budgeters since I can remember, because we must have been started this trend. Wait, where are our royalties? So, I mean, I believe we've both been very vocal to others about where we are financially, what our goals are, what we're striving to do. So, I mean, ideally, I will say I'm here for it. I'm appreciative that it's now getting the respect it deserved years ago when we really needed it. When people, didn't really care how much money you had, they just wanted you to spend on whatever they wanted you to do.
Right.
But I mean, I think it's great that people are definitely taking finances more seriously. They want to, express where they are, what goals they're trying to reach to. And I'm hopeful that people are being more receptive to it now that, they're making it known that now that it's a trend. Let me say that. Now that it's a trend, I'm hoping that people are more receptive and respecting the fact that people have to budget.
Yeah. But you know how, like, with any trend, it's like, oh, I'm doing this just because Sally and John are doing it, but I'm not really doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think some of this might just be fluff? Like, oh, I'm loud budgeting, but really, homeboy's buying, like, a Louis Vuitton bag and has like $0 in the savings account. Like, do you think that might be some of it? Like, just to kind of fit in, you say like, oh, I'm on a budget too, but are you really, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think absolutely people are definitely going to be trying to just keep up with the Joneses per se and following trends. I definitely believe people are going to be out there doing that. Now, I think it would be stupid. Like, personally, right. I mean, I think it's just stupid to say that you're loud budgeting when you really just want to spend. Like, then do what you do. I think this is really for people that are truly following this trend, that are really doing it.
Right.
I don't think it's necessary for you to be lying and saying you're budgeting, but your next post is, like you said, you bought a Louis bag and you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't even align. So stay focused with whatever your niche is. What you're doing. Don't try to jump into this trend, and if it doesn't even follow your values.
Right. Understood. Yeah. I mean, I must say that, yes, I wouldn't say a loud budgeter, but maybe like a whispering budgeter, because, like, I'm not a fan of in your faceness. However, I'll tell you one thing, when people come up with these collections at work, everybody wants to buy this person something. This one's having a baby. This one's having a home shower, whatever, housewarming. It's all these different things that people are like asking for money. It was fine when it was one or two things. Now it just gets overwhelming. So yes, I do proudly say I'm on a budget. That's not part of the budget. And and most of the time people respect it, I guess. I mean, they're not going to say anything to me, I guess. But yeah, in that case, yes, loud or medium whispering budgeting, whatever. That's what I participate in. But like, to be in your face and making it a big deal, no, I'm not really into that.
Makes sense, makes sense. So basically, you're telling me what I said earlier about this being a trend that we set. I'm a liar. Got it. Which is fine.
From
People
your
change.
mouth.
I mean, I felt as though you were loud before, especially with us in college. You
Oh,
were
in
very
college,
quick.
it just
You
showed.
were very quick to tell me you did not have the money. This is not in your budget. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, she's loud and loud as heck. So, but I
You
got
know
it.
what? You're right.
People,
You're
no,
not
no,
lying.
no,
You're
no.
not lying. You're right.
People change. I get it. So, like I said, you go ahead and whisper. But I'm going to be loud on this because I personally believe, like, I'm very adamant about telling my family and my friends, like, where I am, like, what goals I'm striving for, why I can't
Mhm.
contribute to something they want me to do. And, you know, I would say, even with things as you mentioned with people at work, like, if there were events or stuff like, I mean, my coworkers know I budget.
Yeah.
You know, I was telling my boss the other day that, oh, I'm on a no spend challenge. Like, you
Mhm.
know, but so I make it very clear of where I am financially and what the goals I'm trying to do. So if any nonsense comes up, they know, oh, Charm's probably
You
not
know
gonna be
what?
up for that.
Maybe I should be loud with it. And then
I
maybe they'll be like, you know what? Let's not even send this to her. Just leave me out of it, you know? So that could happen.
yeah, I think that would be
All
a
right, I'm
healthy
back to being
approach.
loud. Back to college days. I can't afford that. Please leave me out. Thank you. My wardrobe said it all though back then. She definitely on a budget. If she not, she need to
Oh,
be.
especially on on that trip we went on. I was like, girl, where are your clothes? Oh my
That
goodness.
was funny.
Well, overall, I mean, with the loud budgeting, do you think it would personally help a lot of people out there?
Yes, if done properly, I think that budgeting in general is just great. Like, you really don't understand how much money you spend on certain things until you look at the big picture. So if you're not writing anything down, you're just kind of, keeping a mental track of what you're spending. I think that's when it gets out of hand and, you end up running into problems where your credit card is, in the thousands because you weren't
Yeah.
paying attention. So being on a budget, I think is great. And the fact that they're bringing light to it, I do appreciate that as
Hmm.
long as people are using it appropriately.
Absolutely. So what about FOMO? Because I think that plays a big factor in this. And for
Yeah.
most of you that may not know, FOMO is the fear of missing out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I feel, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just feel like people will feel like they're missing out in whenever there's a TikTok or something like that, a challenge or whatever. Everybody feels like they need to jump in and do the same thing. That's just kind of our culture right now, which is it's different. But but yeah, there's definitely a FOMO there, I think, with anything that blows up.
Hmm.
Unless you're
Absolutely.
talking about like FOMO of buying things that other people have or what.
I feel as though it's all in one same bucket to me,
Well, yeah, because you
like I said, keeping up
scroll.
with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm. You scroll, you see this person going over here, doing this, bought this, and then it's like, oh, well, I need that too.
Hmm.
So, but
Yeah.
social media is just a snippet.
Absolutely. It's not full
Mhm.
picture. So,
No.
I mean, I would hope that individuals, that consider loud budgeting to be something they would like to pursue, to understand that it's it's not, you're not missing out on much. You're not missing out on anything. Like you said, social media is definitely a snippet. It's only a glimpse of what that reality is for that true individual.
Yep.
So I agree. As far as you mentioned things like experiences. Now, I'm going to do my best not to take this a little personally because you mentioned like people reaching out to you saying, "Oh, come contribute to my housewarming work things and things of that nature." So, what about
Mm-hmm.
my birthday, my wedding, uh,
Well,
my bachelorette? Did you feel some type of way?
um,
Talk about it.
actually, no. For certain things, I have budgeted. I knew you were getting married, so I knew that this was something that I would be looking forward to. And you you're very particular. So, you did your research on what people could afford and how many days they could go, like all these different things. So you're very mindful of the people that you're with, which is appreciated. And you give plenty of time as well. So I would say, no, wasn't really that big of a deal at least for me.
Oh,
Because I
glad you
expected
feel
it.
that way.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well,
So
how you feel about my birthday?
I was gonna say about your birthday. Well, I mean, I know I'm just joking. I agree with you as far as making sure that you give the person the right amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
The notice is what's important here too. And then, like you said, being courteous of everyone else's financial situation and everything, and knowing that if they can't afford it, not taking offense for one. And then ultimately knowing who you want to show up for too is also important, because I think
Right.
that does play a role. If I have my third cousin removed and they tell me like they got this event going on and I seen you when I was like this big,
Right.
ma'am, sir, I will send you a card,
Mm-hmm.
but to basically go out of my way to try to swing a $1,500 trip or $2,000, that might not happen in that situation. But for someone, of course, that is in my everyday circle, I'm going to do my best. But if I can't too, I want them to understand too, it has nothing to do with them. It's just something I can't financially swing at this point.
Right. Which is understandable. It's like, I can't hold anybody and be like, oh, you should have been there, blah, blah, blah. Like my own sisters are, they're like, oh, I don't know. But, it is what it is. Like I don't fault them for it. If they're not able to, they're not able to, and that's okay. So I think that's just like, you have to be respectful of people's budgets. So yeah, I think that's what it all comes down to. Planning, being respectful, and just that's all I got. Yeah, those two. I don't know why I thought there was a third.
I know. Why do we always think it needs to be three? Like I feel like everyone does that, but
yeah,
it's okay.
It just seems like 3 is just the number,
magic number,
for some
right?
reason. Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, I mean, now that you're on the loud budgeting team, since you decided to switch sides here,
yeah, no longer whispering. Nobody hears me that way.
What personal budgeting goals or things do you think that you might set up for yourself for the new year? I mean, we're already almost a quarter into the new year. So.
Yeah, we are. New goals is to get better at budgeting, because I will admit that I wasn't the best budgeter to begin with. I was a head math person.
Or that new thing, girl math.
Oh yeah, that's a hot mess. But yeah, like I could relate to some of that, but not. I feel like I've always been smart with money, but actually doing the budget regularly is actually helping me get to a point where I'm like, okay, I can tighten a couple things up. Wasn't, obviously nobody's gonna be perfect, but I would say just kind of perfecting that is what I'm working on right now. What about yourself?
Well, as I shared earlier, I'm on a no spend challenge. So I kind of made this something I do almost every year, especially the beginning of the year, the new year. I do my best to kind of cut things out, reset, and realize like what are things that I don't need that I probably, throughout I should say within the year started buying. I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? Let's figure out what can I cut. And right now, so I would say being part of this no spend challenge, I've cut out, non-necessities, things that I don't use
Like
on a regular.
Netflix.
Yes,
So
Netflix has been one of them. I know. I can't watch Love is Blind.
I know.
But it's a sacrifice that is necessary. Netflix is out their darn mind right now with charging $25 right now. And some of y'all probably don't know this because you probably piggybacking off somebody else. However, I was not one of those individuals. I was the one that was piggybacked on. I don't know how you would say it, but that was me.
Yes, you were piggybacked on. Everybody hanging off.
Yeah. So sorry for anyone that has been affected by me cutting off Netflix in the past 2 weeks. Thankfully, not many people were affected clearly because my phone was not blown off the hook. Which would have been sad if that's the only time I heard, but I didn't hear from you in 2 years. What's
I know.
up?
You change your password.
But yes, so like Netflix, my other BFF, I had to say farewell a little bit to, which is Amazon. Amazon out on a break. We had to take some time apart right now. So
You
you know, but
canceled your membership?
I didn't do that yet.
Oh, I think I'm doing that this year.
Are you?
I think so.
Oh, that's a tough one. So,
Yeah.
you know, I haven't broken up completely. I'm still like that stalker creep, you know, in the background where I still scroll. Like, what they doing today? I'm like, what prime deals they got today? So I'm still in the background a little bit, but you know, still keeping my distance. You know, I haven't hit pay or so doing my best there.
Being the best stalker you can be.
I'm doing my best, yes. And then what else? I would also say, you know, to your point, being more mindful of my budget. Like I've definitely had a budget and stayed on it as much as I could. I should say as consistently as I could before.
Mhm.
But I would just say being more mindful of my budget, making sure that I am staying within those parameters that I set, and staying true. You know, and I think
Right.
it's great now too because my husband and I are now staying focused on that, and we're reviewing our budget on a weekly, monthly basis, making sure that we're
Mhm.
doing ourselves justice and setting ourselves up for success for our future. So
Good,
those
good.
would be some of the things.
Yeah, I like it. I
Yeah,
like it. Yeah. So
absolutely.
these are some rough goals, especially the Amazon one. But we'll get through. We will get through.
Yes, all right. Take us to church, Dira. I'm curious to know, like what our audience thinks about loud budgeting
Mhm.
overall. Whether it's a trend that they believe they're going to follow because they believe that this is something that is necessary and they would like to get this word out more so to their family, friends, coworkers, whomever,
Mhm.
or if it's a fad, you know, if it's something that's just going to fade as fast as it popped up for us.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say.
Yeah, me too. I'm really, write it in the comments. Let us know. Are you interested in loud budgeting? Is this a lifestyle that you think you can adopt? Will you hold on to the lifestyle or is it something that'll be fleeting? Like, which one will it be for you? All right. So thank you for joining us on our first episode of Practical Dreamers podcast. Glad you could join us, and we hope you're leaving refreshed and ready to take on your financial future. Until next time.
See you then.
Yep.